Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Victory over the Phoenix Suns. It was supposed to be a revenge game for Phoenix, but hey, they came to Sacramento and we kicked that beep, and the Sacramento Kings win at home 104 to 127 against the Phoenix Suns in a game where the Sacramento Kings were hitting shots and looked very cohesive and scored 127 in a game. They pretty much looked a little dominant over the Phoenix Suns. Now, mind you, the Suns are without Kevin Durant right now, so we'll have to see how the Kings play against these guys when they have possibly their best guy back in the lineup. And the Suns are now 9-3, and the Kings are 7-5 currently on the season. And here are the current standings. The Sacramento Kings, if the season ended tonight, would be 7-5 in a two-way tie, in a tie with for seventh place against the Grizzlies, who are also 7-5. Clippers right below at 6-6, and the Spurs right there 6-6, and the Timberwolves, who we play tonight, is also 6-6. And the Thunder are holding on to first place at 10-2. Warriors are looking very good, second place 9-2, and the Suns, who we just beat twice, are in third place at 9-3. With the Nuggets right there at fourth, 7-3, and the Rockets 8-4, holding on to their fifth place. The Lakers are 7-4. So a couple teams, in my opinion, that are doing a little better than I think we thought they would is the Lakers. Also the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are doing good with Ja Morant. We know they were a good team with him, but they're right there hovering around us. The Rockets at 8-4. I don't know if too many people had the Rockets in fifth place at this point. And the Warriors. The Warriors are doing really good. They were in first place for a few days. And even the Suns are doing really good. So I think a lot of people expected the Mavs to be a little bit higher. And maybe the Clippers. But that's the standings. Hey guys, before I get into this video, it'd be great if you could go ahead and like this video. If you like Kings content, Kings analysis, Kings news, please subscribe as well. I could really use the subscribers. We're new, but we're trying to grow this channel, and I'm putting in work trying to give you guys this analysis. So help me out. All you got to do is click those buttons, like and subscribe. And today is November 15th, 2024. And I want to say thank you for joining me. Hopefully you're here for the whole video. I got some really good analysis to give. And I want to say, what's going on, YouTube? And what's going on to all my folks and all my friends out there? It's your guy, Jay Woods, aka Shy the Man, and I'm back at you with another episode of the Kings Morning After Midday Cup of Joe with Jay.
Ah! I love it.
Yeah. As you can see, I got that, or maybe you can't see. I got that McDonald's coffee today. Super bright, right? Hold on, let me fix my lighting here. Yeah, okay, that's not any better, but I got my McDonald's coffee today. I don't know why it's so overexposed. I got my McDonald's coffee today. Yeah. I got treated to some McDonald's coffee this morning, woke up, it was there on the counter. All I can say is thank you. But what I've done, I've drank about half of it. It was really sweet and milky, so I actually brewed a pot of coffee and poured half of my strong ass coffee in there. So it's perfect now. It's like strong ass coffee with a little bit of flavor. So my cup of Joe. McDonald's with added homebrew. And today is Friday, end of the week Friday. So all my guests and all my fans that work a 5-day work week and Friday is the last day of the week, hey, I commend you. And to all my fans out there who work a 5-day work week and it's your Friday, congratulations, you made it through the week. My cup of Joe today is, man, that was a great victory for the Kings, man, against the Western Conference um rival. Can you call them a rival? To me, all the guys in the West, all the teams in the Western Conference are rivals because we're competing for positions. We're competing for playoff positions right now. And with the Spurs being one of the teams that was on top of the rankings, and for us to beat them twice and they're 9-3, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's beat up on the Suns. Let's own the Suns. Um, it might be a little different when Kevin Durant gets back, so we'll see how they play against him when he's back. But good on the Kings, man. They need every victory they can get against Western Conference teams. That's my cup of Joe. McDonald's, half McDonald's, half homebrew. Quick stats. All right, quick stats. So yeah, Kings were up by 6 at the end of the first quarter. They were up by 5 at halftime, which is great. You're starting off halftime with a 5-point lead, but the Phoenix Suns were actually able to tie this game up in the third. So that was kind of interesting to see. And then by the fourth quarter, by about 5 minutes of the game, the Kings were up by 20 points. So they just lit a fire. Somebody lit a fire under their ass and they were hitting shots. Guys were looking really cohesive out there. The offense was flowing and it culminated into a 127 to 104 victory. And for the Suns, the leading scorer was Josh Okogie off the bench with 25. And I have to be honest, at the end of the game, the Suns really looked disinterested. By the fourth quarter, by the time the Kings were beating them by like 20 points, they didn't look like they wanted to play anymore. They were done. They let the bench guys come in and Josh Okogie ended up being the leading scorer, Devin Booker with 18. Uh, Yusuf Nurkic had 11 rebounds, and Tyrus Jones with 8 assists on the night. And for the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox with 29 big points. Kevin Huerter was the second leading scorer with 22, which is great for him to come back from last game while only having 2 points. I don't want him to be this year's Harrison Barnes though, where he's getting like 30 points one night and 2, 3, 4, 5 points the next night. We don't need that. We need him averaging a good amount consistently. And then Keegan Murray with a big 17 points, and Trey Lyles with a big 13 off the bench. Jordan McLaughlin with 11 off the bench. That's good. I like to see these guys contributing off the bench, especially Trey Lyles. Keon Ellis also had 9. Leading assists was our guy De'Aaron Fox with 10. Domantas Sabonis had 9. He almost had a triple double. One rebound, one assist shy of another triple double for Domantas Sabonis, the blue collar workman, as I call him. And he also had 10 rebounds. Team stats: the Kings had 64% from field goal range, 37% against the Sun for the Suns, which equaled about 14 more shots made than the Suns. 3-pointers, the Kings shot great, 53% to the Suns 30%. They only hit 2 more threes than the Suns, however. Free throws was about 70% for both teams. Uh, Rebounds about the same, 40 to 45 for the Kings. Defensive rebounds. The Kings got 18 more defensive rebounds than the Suns, which is kind of interesting. Assists. Kings got 15 more assists than the Suns, which goes back to me saying they were playing very cohesively. The Kings, were running like clockwork. One note, though, is DeMar DeRozan did not play the second half, most of the second half, because of back spasms. And I believe he's going to be out tonight too, which kind of sucks. Um, Kings had 62 points in the paint compared to 42 for the Suns. Eye test. I'm going to give the Kings an eye test. Eye test. Eye test. Eye test. We're gonna take an eye test.
Or offensive players are shooting against them. The other people on the cookies and took them away at the left. Keon Ellis, the floater. I mean, and you talk about who's going to fill the shoes of Malik Monk. Everybody's got to be aggressive. 12-point ball game.
So, like I was saying, the Kings went into halftime with a 5 or 6 point lead. So I'm a big believer in closing out quarters well, and especially closing out halves well. So they closed out the quarter decently. They were up by 12, but they ended up closing out the quarter by I think it was 6 points.
Inside out of bounds. Here's Booker looking for a 2-for-1 man. Devin Booker, 4-time All-Star in that first half. Kings ball here to begin the third.
So 5 points. The Kings were leading by 5 points at half.
12 turnovers for the Kings as Booker takes it upon him. Half points per game. Not giving up. We're together. You're going to see the turnover. Turner. He runs that. It gets the roll. Talking there. There's Jones. Tony was tipped right there. Shot clock is at 4.
And at this point in the game, third quarter, about 8.5 minutes in the game, the Suns were actually up by 2 points. And then the Kings turned it on. They were playing defense, as you see Keegan Murray with the great defensive block. Domantas Sabonis brings the ball down like a point guard and dishes like a point guard to Kevin Huerter, who gets the easy cut layup. Then Domantas Sabonis out there shooting threes like a shooting guard. We have one of the most versatile centers there is in the NBA. He's bringing the ball down. He's passing the ball for passing dimes to guys to get easy assists. He's shooting threes and hitting them, and he's not overshooting the ball. He's shooting the ball when he's open. They just leave him wide open. He's shooting a three, and he's hitting it. De'Aaron, without DeMar DeRozan out there, was working his midi magic, working his midi game. Beautiful pass to Trey Lyles. And in this point of the game, the Kings don't even have DeMar DeRozan. It's basically last year's team out there balling. Oh, without Monk too, mind you. Monk is injured as well.
Pointed out to his squad. Make it a draft. Yeah, why not? Herder. Oh, he stopped on it.
It's also good to see Herder out there working his offensive game with the slow Euro step. Darren in the clutch, passing out to Herder. It's just so good to see Herder hitting shots again like he was a couple years ago. Last year was like a slump down season for him. But this year he's hitting. He's hitting his threes, and he's making some great offensive decisions and playing pretty aggressive on offense. And Fox hitting shots at the end of the game. The Kings shot really well this game. They shot, I want to say they hit 14, 15 threes this game. So you hit 14, 15 threes. Oh, I just said it in my quick stats. Yeah, 15 threes for the 15 threes for the Kings. Look, even Keon Ellis getting some. Keon Ellis is actually a good 3-point shooter. He's probably shooting more often than what he does. Bottom line, the Kings morning after. Bottom line. Today's bottom line is bottom line. The Kings, man, if they could play like this every game, that would be great, right? They were very dominant at the end of the game. I mean, what they were doing in this game, if they can duplicate this, they'll be the champions. They played great defense. They had guys like Keegan Murray getting blocks, rebounds. Trey Lyles in there getting blocks and scoring. Domantas Sabonis playing whatever position you need him to, getting assists, hitting threes. De'Aaron Fox was money, hitting threes, hitting his mid-range game. Unfortunately, we didn't have our other guys, DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk. But for these guys to play the way they did without those guys, good on the Kings. We need that. We need that type of play every game when we have those guys. And I don't know if the Kings, since they've gotten DeMar DeRozan, since they've gotten Dede, they've become very jump shot oriented, jump shot dependent. Kind of slows the game down a little bit. And they were kind of running freely this game. Now, I'm not saying DeMar DeRozan slows the game down or is a negative effect on our offense. We need DeMar DeRozan. Trust that. But just to see that it was like last year's team without Malik Monk, and just to see the flow, to see them running up and down court so fast, taking quick shots and getting quick passes and guys cutting. It was just real good flow to see. So bottom line, if the Kings can keep playing like this, obviously they'll beat a lot of teams the way they played last night. Next up, we actually play tonight. And tonight, the Sacramento Kings will be playing our arch nemesis, the Minnesota Timberwolves, in Minnesota. So tonight, Friday, November 15th, we have a matchup between the Sacramento Kings at the Minnesota Timberwolves. And in this matchup, the Kings lost last game to Minnesota. That was actually the first game of the year was versus Minnesota. And the Kings lost. They lost their first 2 games of the season. Just trying to get it together and learn the new team, obviously. So for me, this should be a revenge game for the Kings. And the Sacramento Kings are 7-5 currently, which I said earlier. And Minnesota, I mean, they're not world beaters. They're 6-6. They got one on us in our first game. But I mean, 6-6. They're hovering right around our record. We should be able to beat these guys. And this game is considered a cup game, the in-season cup that they've been doing for the past couple seasons. And the Timberwolves have already lost a game in the cup. And they're in Group A, West Group A. And the Kings are in the same group and haven't played yet. So tonight is going to be their first in-season cup game. And as we know, the Minnesota Timberwolves feature guys like Anthony Edwards, their new guy, Julius Randle, that they traded for in the offseason, Rob Dillingham, Dante DiVincenzo, who they also got in the offseason, the other guy, Rudy Gobert, who they got a couple years ago for like 1,000 first-round picks, Naz Reid, who's a great 6-man center, comes in workmanlike, Jaden McDaniels, great up-and-coming forward, Luka Garza, Joe Ingles, Mike Conley, Terrence Shannon, and players like that. Our biggest threat is Anthony Edwards. Do we have a guy that can guard that guy? We can't let that guy get hot. Can't let him go to the basket easily, get to the basket easily, and we can't leave him open at 3 and let him get hot from 3. Because once he gets hot, he gets real, active and emotional, and it brings the game out of him. Julius Randle, we know, is a blue-collar worker out there. Can't let him do too much down low, and can't let him kill us on boards. Dante DiVincenzo, he's kind of a gunner. He's going to be shooting his threes, doing his thing. Can't let him disrupt us. Rudy Gobert is the inside guy, plays defense down low. All right, we got some betting lines tonight. If you want a sports bet on the Kings, use the link in the description below. It goes to Bet Us, and it's what I use to sports bet. And I'm here in California, and I can bet. They have the Kings. They have the Timberwolves beating us by a 1.5. How do you feel about that? If you feel like the Kings should win, lose by less than a point, then bet on the Kings. If you feel like they're going to win this game, Sacramento Kings. Betting lines. The Sacramento Kings are 1.5-point dogs to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Vegas thinks the Timberwolves are 1.5 better than the Kings tonight, with the Kings being at home. What do you feel about that? If you want to bet on this game, use the link down below in the description. If you feel like the Kings are going to lose by a point or win the game, bet for the Kings, you'll win. If you feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win by at least 2 points or more, bet for the Timberwolves. And like I said, if you want to do sports betting, no matter where you're at, I'm in California, and I use this site, Bet Us. The link is in the description. And as always, I ask that you guys please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We're new, but we're growing. We're going to do a bunch of fun stuff. I know you're going to have some fun with us, and I'm always going to be doing some analysis the day after the Kings game. So if you're into that, please subscribe. Also, like the content. If I said anything you agree with at all, like the content. If I taught you anything at all, like the content. If I was entertaining at all, like the content. Also, make a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how the Kings are doing. Comment on anything. You comment on the weather. I don't care. Just comment and share. All these things help with the algorithm. We're trying to grow the channel real big. Let's go. And that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. I got to get out of here. I got to head out to work. And I just want to say thank you for joining me on the latest edition of the Kings Morning After. Midday Cup of Joe with Jay. But hey, before you go, check out my moves. It's good.